Let's go! Caleb Williams wins the Heisman Trophy. Was this the correct pick? I'm going to need your help in the comment section below as we move forward to the magical 1,000 subscriber mark. And of course, I'm going to give you every last little bit of what I like and dislike about this very flawed, but by far the most important individual award we have in all of sports. So Caleb Williams wins the Heisman. And at the end, I'm going to tell you why I like and dislike that. It was a strange year that there wasn't just some unbelievable force of nature that, even before championship weekend was played, we knew who was actually going to win the award. Now, before I continue, I want to share a few things I do not like about the Heisman Trophy voting process. Number one, I wish there was a clearer rubric for the actual Heisman Trophy voters. Some actually vote before conference championship weekend, which logically that does make some sense, and some actually vote after college football championship weekend. I don't know why you just can't everyone do it at the same time, because it does make it a little bit easier, and I would like there to be, clarity whether or not you should include conference championship weekend in the voting process. I do actually think you should. So I don't know, that's kind of strange. The second thing, though, which I do want to include in the conversation today, is a major myth about this trophy, that it goes to the best player in all of college football. That is not what the Heisman Trophy mission statement actually says. You are looking at it right now. So I want you to look at this very, very, very closely, and you notice it is not the most outstanding college football player. It's just the outstanding college football player. So not the most valuable, not anything else, but just an outstanding college football player whose performance epitomizes great ability combined with diligence, perseverance, and hard work. Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. So I know you've already subscribed and rang the bell, and in the background, I'm actually going to play some Max Duggan highlights. And we'll get back to Max in just a second. So the first thing I want to bring up about, this specific Heisman Trophy ceremony here is that I did not agree with the finalists. I don't see how any voter would have put C.J. Stroud in over Hendon Hooker. And I know that there has been a big debate between Stetson Bennett and Hendon Hooker, and we'll get to Stetson in just a second. But, goodness gracious, I really don't get that at all. I don't quite get the C.J. Stroud hype whatsoever for this year's Heisman Trophy. Of the four finalists here, you could make the case he is the only one to play under expectations this year. I just don't see, really any improvisational talent from C.J. Stroud. Obviously, the Penn State performance was good, but you can make a case that game was more won on, the ground and some timely defensive plays. And in his big Heisman moment game, he shrunk, quite frankly. And, Michigan, of course, blew them out. It wasn't just C.J. Stroud, but you would like to have seen something truly outstanding in that game. And also C.J. Stroud got a huge break that Blake Corum got hurt, which, probably hurt, the northern vote from being split, if you will. So, for me, I don't quite understand the C.J. Stroud Heisman hype. Did he have a really good year? Yes. Is his QBR really good? Yes. But which Ohio State quarterback doesn't put up those kind of stats in the Ryan Day offense surrounded by a bunch of 5-stars? So I just have a tough time understanding C.J. Stroud even being there in New York City when, quite frankly, that team didn't really have that much adversity. And remember what the Heisman Trophy Trust actually says, right? Through diligence, perseverance, and hard work, right? Well, if we were to rate diligence and persistence and hard work, which, kind of sort of says, hey, we want to give it to an outstanding quarterback who overcame adversity. Well, what adversity did C.J. Stroud have to face other than, his best wide receiver, Jackson Smith and Jigba, not really playing this year? Not really much of anything, to be quite honest. And you can even make the case against Caleb Williams in that same way, right? He is a 5-star quarterback playing at USC with the best transfer portal addition at wide receiver also coming in, one of the best transfer portal additions at running back also coming in. And by the way, you're being coached by the coach who has had multiple other Heisman Trophy winners. So I think if you were looking at, overcoming, perseverance and all of that, I think it's pretty clear that not only Stetson Bennett and Max Duggan in that category had to overcome more, Hendon Hooker as well, right? Transferring over, having to win the job versus somebody else, that was truly incredible, Hendon Hooker. And I know he won the job actually last year from Joe Milton, but still, if we were going to rate stuff like that, it's pretty clear that, since it doesn't have to go to the absolute most outstanding guy, let's, grade how difficult it was for them to overcome what they had to overcome. Man, it's hard to argue against Duggan and Stetson Bennett, who, quite frankly, beat the odds to actually become the starting quarterbacks at their respective universities. So, man, yeah, it's pretty interesting if you look at it through that lens. So now we get to the second debate, and this honestly is mostly just SEC-based. How did Hendon Hooker not get in the Final Four over Stetson Bennett? Now, I'm going to divert to the Ohio State remarks I just made. Both of them should be in over C.J. Stroud in my estimation, but that's not what happened. There was honestly, Tennessee and Georgia fans, I'll never get along. Let me share what I think about the Hendon Hooker and Stetson Bennett debate. There's been so much made of, hey, Stetson Bennett has more to work with. He's got an elite defense. He's got the Georgia 5 stars, to throw the football to. I wouldn't, though, do the supporting cast thing for Stetson Bennett versus Hendon Hooker, though, right? Hendon Hooker did have the Biletnikoff Award winner to throw the football to. Yes, Hendon Hooker did not have his best receiver, Cedric Tillman, for quite a bit of this season. But Stetson Bennett also didn't have A.D. Mitchell. Now, once again, Tillman is way better than Mitchell, but, still, I just don't really want to hear the supporting casting because, to me, the offense that puts up the most numbers, that plays at a breakneck pace, is that it? Breakneck pace is Tennessee, right? And Tennessee had more competitive fourth quarters. Well, actually, no, that's not necessarily true, but still, Georgia, which plays a different style than Tennessee, they didn't really have many competitive fourth quarters. And, for me, I'm fine with Stetson Bennett getting in over Hendon Hooker. I think it's pretty close, even though Hooker's numbers, in theory, do dwarf Stetson Bennett's. Bennett was really good in big games, and I do think that counts for something. So, yes, I would have liked to have seen Hendon Hooker get the invite to New York. Yes, I do think it's BS that an injury prevented him from, getting that final game versus Vanderbilt. But, to go along with that same argument that, Stetson Bennett had more to work with, keep in mind that Hendon Hooker's backup in a rivalry game versus a decent Vanderbilt team 56-0'd the Commodores. So, yes, Hendon Hooker should have gone to New York City as well. I do think it's too tight, though, to say it's some, mockery of the award that Hendon Hooker did not get the invite over Bennett. So, I wouldn't pit those two against each other. Bam! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. A very happy birthday to a PHL and PHS icon. That wasn't smooth at all. The greatest Heisman Trophy winner, in my estimation, because it was the greatest single season we've ever seen from a quarterback, Joe Burrow. He did turn 26 years of age. Now, we can get a debate over Joe Burrow versus Cam Newton versus Tim Tebow, but yes, I'll say there might be a little bias mixed in there. That Burrow is the best SEC or just Heisman Trophy winner ever. Now, why do I bring up Joe? Well, this was the Joe season, right? There was no clear-cut winner when it comes to the Heisman Trophy award, okay? So, there isn't going to be some, disgrace whether or not, Caleb Williams beat out Max Duggan or if Stetson Bennett actually won it. You could make a case for any of them. I still don't get the CJ Stroud thing and whatever. Now, let's get into a conversation about this Heisman Trophy pick of Caleb Williams. It's kind of boring. Let's be honest, right? 5-star quarterback transfers to iconic brand in very weak schedule, weak conference with weak defenses, and wins the Heisman, but in his final game, loses to Utah. Now, what I will say about Caleb Williams is both of his performances and losses to Utah was actually pretty good. And more of that had to do with USC's defense not being where it is now. So Caleb Williams, I said the thing about perseverance earlier. He did have to carry, a bad defense to the record that USC had this year. But in the grand scheme, I'm fine with Caleb Williams actually winning it. You can make a strong case that he was the most outstanding player in all of college football. But it goes back to what we said earlier, right? This award doesn't go to the most outstanding player in all of college football. So, once again, you're looking at the Heisman Trust mission statement, and while the first part of this does mention integrity, the final part doesn't actually mention integrity. But if the Heisman Trust wants to talk about, being a good sport and all of that, I don't know how you can give the award to someone that on his fingernails put F Utah on his nails when he lost both times to the opponent. I have a hard time actually, getting over that if sportsmanship is to be a part of the award, okay? So, look, I know that, and I'm not saying I don't mind the Caleb Williams thing. I really don't care. I'm just saying that it is very, very, very interesting that is part of all of this. Now, I'm not some moralist. I didn't lose sleep over him, doing that per se. But, man, it just seemed a little out of nowhere. But still, I'm fine with Caleb Williams winning the award. Did I want him to? No. Is it kind of boring? Yes. Another Lincoln Riley, top 100 quarterback wins a Heisman. And I know Baker wasn't a top 100 player, but Kyler Murray clearly was. So yeah, it's okay. Life will move on. It's not Caleb is not the worst Heisman Trophy winner, but he's definitely not the best, right? There's a lot of quarterbacks in other years that finished as runner-ups that probably would have won it this year, but that's not how this award is actually divvied out, right? So, it is what it is, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you actually believe Caleb Williams deserved this award? Personally, I would have loved Stetson Bennett to win the award, just simply because of his story, right? If you want to get into perseverance, about a former walk-on, wins the national championship, comes back as an encore, and becomes even better, has some of these ridiculous performances when everybody's been telling you that you're not really it. I mean, I remember in the middle of the national championship game, the big conversation was, well, Georgia can't win a national championship with Stetson at quarterback. He's not good enough. I mean, this guy really went through it. And, I would have been fine if Stetson had actually won it. Once again, that's what my preseason prediction was. Bet Hooker or bet Bennett. So, there you go. Now, in the comment section below, once again, let me know what you guys think. It is Power Hour SEC. Bam! And tonight, oh yeah, we're doing a chicken Florentine calzone. Let's